Hey food friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to show you how to make a $1 chicken collagen broth with some chicken wing tips that I got from the store. After the broth is made, I'll show you how to jazz it up by making an herbed version of it, an herb and onion version of it, and also a herb tomato and onion version of it. I'll be pairing these with some crackers to make a nice light meal. I'm using 2 pounds of chicken wing tips that I got in an Asian supermarket for $1. When I see things like these, I have to buy it so I can see how I can put it to use. I took this and put this in a few liters of water and just let it defrost for half an hour. In a 4-liter skillet on high heat, I'm just going to add my wing tips and fill the skillet with water to the top. I'm adding 2 tablespoons of dried onion flakes. You could use a tablespoon of onion powder. I just happen to have a lot of this. This jar here is 35 ounces and I got it on sale, so that's why I can freely use this, and it literally cost me pennies per serving. Bring this to a boil and add a pinch of turmeric. This is going to give it a golden color like you can expect from store-bought chicken broth. And I always have turmeric in my cupboard because I do use it a lot, not just for adding color, but for flavor as well. You won't taste the turmeric in this broth because it's just a pinch for color. Once this comes to a boil, you can turn the heat down a bit and cover it and cook it for about half an hour. Check in on it every now and then and you'll notice the water will start to absorb. And when your water is halfway absorbed, stir this around and give it a little taste. Now you can add a bit of salt, but not too much because I will be seasoning this as I go along and adding more water. After an hour of cooking, you can see the liquid is turning very milky, and that is from the breakdown of the protein, the collagen, the vitamins, and all the nutrients in the chicken just being rendered into the liquid itself. Once you can easily break this apart with a fork, then we're just going to take a masher and mash everything together. So this is going to be a very nutrient dense broth, and this right here would be it as a concentrated version, but I am looking for quite a few liters of broth as my final product, so I do add more water and cook it for another half an hour. When strained, this is the golden liquid I'm left with, and I'm pouring it back into my 4-liter skillet. So there I have just about 3 liters of broth. It tastes like canned chicken broth, or the chicken broth you would get in canned soup, and that would be your simple version, your $1 collagen broth. But I will jazz it up a bit. I'm going to add some unsalted bouillon powder just to give it a bit more of a chickeny flavor. If your bouillon powder clumps, use a strainer and a spoon to incorporate back into the broth, just like this. Here is the herbed version that I want to show you, and this is just using a heaping teaspoon of herbe de Provence. Whisk it together and cook it for a few minutes with a bit more water, and then you'll have this savory, herbaceous collagen broth that can be eaten just on its own and sipped like a sipping broth. If you like onion, this is a cheap way to add extra nutrients to this pot of broth. I finally diced my onion and I'm just going to let it cook in this broth. As I add items into this broth, it's on a continuous medium-high boil, so it won't boil over, but it's not quite simmering. Once your onion is cooked, you can enjoy this as an herbed onion collagen broth. But I'm not stopping there. I have a lot of frozen cherry tomatoes from my dad's garden, so I'm just going to go ahead and take some out of my freezer and add them to my broth. This will take a while to boil again, only because these are frozen and it cools it down. I have a bag full of these in my freezer, and whenever I get tomatoes on sale, I do this as well. I take it and I freeze it whole This is a great way to avoid paying too much for tomatoes when the prices skyrocket every other week. You could also use just like 3 medium-sized tomatoes for this recipe. And once the tomatoes are starting to cook, you can gently squish them down and let them pop to release all that beautiful tomato flavor into the whole pot of broth. When the skin separates from the flesh, this is ready. I'm going to turn the heat off now. Whisk everything together to incorporate the flavors, and do be sure to remove any of the skins. Try to remove as much as you can, as they're not fun to chew on. Now let's serve this up. This is my third way of using this collagen broth, and it's being served as a herb tomato onion collagen broth. In the times we live in when food is so expensive, learning to turn some cheap ingredients into something so nutritious as this is an essential skill. Everything I made here cost me under $5 in the end. This broth is rich yet light, and it's savory with a little bit of tang from those tomatoes. Serve it up with some crackers or crusty bread. This right here is a great pairing. Give these recipes a try and go feed yourself. Thanks for watching.